let's get into some suburbs. And I previously said under 550,000 for this suburb, but I mean, I actually don't think it's achievable anymore because I mean, it's for the dwelling you would get, it would be falling apart. It's generally not, or just a terrible location. So it's not something I genuinely buy. And that suburb for under 600,000 now is Breakwater. And to give her an idea, I actually had even a client who bought in this suburb for $505,000, believe it or not, earlier this year. Now, I said to a lot of people, the market can change very quickly, and that's exactly what's happened here. It is still a great buy. Breakwater, you have a lot of homes like this. So they're your original either weatherboards or brick veneer and tile homes on generally decent lots, generally around 500 meters squared or above sometimes. Really, it's a suburb that not many people know about as well, but the location is exceptional. Now, I said here previously and in here, will gentrify. I'm telling you right now, I'd say is gentrifying. Breakwater, as you can see there, is basically the suburb that surrounds kind of the mid to southern flank of the racecourse. That's where you really want to buy in Breakwater, to give you an idea. There's a lot of properties that are going well above what they are worth today, though, so just be wary of that. It's not exactly as simple as just throwing a hat on Breakwater. Great suburb. It's like 3 to 4K from the CBD, to give you an idea. It's like a 5-minute drive to literally the CBD. And I mean, I'm still picking this up for around 600K or so. This is probably not going to be under 600K in my next Geelong episode, but I mean, I'm going through it anyway because I do, want to provide people value and what is available right now for this price. So that's Breakwater anyway. Look, if we get into under 650,000, I previously said under 600,000 for this, and I don't even think that's achievable anymore, to give you an idea. Yes, it is for some properties you see on the market, but when they're on the market, I mean, they're either in the wrong location, they're underquoted, so they go above it, or they're just not the right property for the suburb. Similar to what I was saying about Breakwater for under, 600,000, 550, sorry. But the suburb for under 600,000 I want to mention is Thomson. And yes, that neighbours Breakwater. And as I said to you, I usually pick suburbs that are all in very similar locations. And it should be no surprise to people because of that. Because suburbs that I mention generally have similar fundamentals as suburbs nearby them. And they're generally all in similar areas. But it's just different price points you're kind of picking. So look, Thomson, similar to Breakwater, has a lot of original similar to this. Brick veneer and tile, some weatherboards. Generally around or above 500 metres squared. Thing about Thomson is, though, what you need to know is if you look at data, it's going to say Thomson's in real estate and that bullshit data, it's going to say Thomson's around the low to mid 500s. If you go on CoreLogic, which is accurate to 3 months, it'll say nearly 690,000, 689,000 the last time I checked. On the ground, I'm telling you right now, it's probably closer to the $700,000 mark. I expect by the next time me making this video, which will probably be in a few months' time, I'd say under 650 won't be achievable anymore in Thomson. It might be just. This market is moving exceptionally well, and for what you want to buy as well, you don't want to be buying the stuff that's probably under it, like too far under it anyway, because it's probably in the wrong location. So the thing about Thomson is, I've just gone on Google Maps, screenshotted this, and you can see where it is. So, I mean, I've just said unknown but unbelievable location. Not many people know Thomson in Geelong. You'll see just here alone, it neighbours East Geelong, which in my opinion is the best suburb of, all of Geelong. Thomson itself, what I'd say too is there's two very distinct locations of Thomson. There's one where there is public housing, and then there's one where there's no public housing. The key is don't buy in the location where that is heavy on the public housing. It is separated by a few key streets and key main roads. I'm not going to tell you that on this episode because that is very client-specific information, but that's a thing you need to know about Thomson. A lot of people I've seen who have not used my services have called me immediately after, and they've said, I've bought this, isn't this a good deal, and all that kind of thing. And I said, no, it's not, because it's in the wrong location of the suburb. What happens is 3 to 6 months later, they give me a call again and they said, what do you do if I've got a bad tenant, or what do I do if someone breaks into my house with my tenants? Do I have to install a security camera? Do I have to install a larger fence with gates locked and all that kind of thing? And the reality is you probably have to in Victoria and most cities of Australia at the moment if that happens, because your tenants need to feel feel safe and you want them to stay in there. And if you've got terrible tenants, good luck getting them out. Seriously. And that's not only in Victoria. A lot of people play it's bad because of the laws in Victoria. I'm telling you right now, in any city of Australia, if you've got a bad tenant, it's bloody hard to get them out of there. So like I said, the location that you buy is going to take care of everything. And in Thomson, it's really going to matter because there's certain pockets you do not want to buy in at all. You don't want to touch them. And those are the pockets that are going under 600,000, I'll tell you right now. So that's my pick, Thomson under 600K. Under 700, I've mentioned it in the past. I'll mention it again. North Geelong's that suburb. Now, North Geelong, I'd say, is right into its gentrification stage, and it is easily referenceable by things like this. Now, yes, you can argue that it is in its rejuvenation stage, but I'd say this stuff was happening years ago when you see new homes being built like this and the fascia change. What has been going on in North Geelong as of probably the last few years is you're getting a lot more wealthy people moving in here. Some parts I'd say would even be comparable in performance to probably Geelong West, which is known to be the best performing capital growth suburb, particularly some pockets of all of Geelong. So that is North Geelong. And it's unsurprising that this is happening. I've mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again. This map may have changed by the time this episode is aired, so take it with a little bit of a grain of salt, but it is very cheap in the pocket that it is in. North Geelong is the suburb just where it says to the right of Park and ARK in Park, so that long kind of irregular shaped suburb. You can see to the south of that you've got Geelong West and Geelong, two of the most expensive suburbs in Geelong. The part that you can see the streets in the sort of mapping there, that's Drumcondra and Rippleside. So those suburbs are very expensive. Some of the most expensive in North Geelong, in Geelong as well. North Geelong neighbours, all of them. So it's a suburb where you have the spillover effect of a lot of more expensive suburbs. So no doubt you're going to get increasing prices here. And this is why this area is definitely gentrifying in its nature. Get to the very top end of Geelong. Let's go under 800K. I'm telling you, I think this may not be achievable by the time I air this next episode out because I've picked up some very good properties here, but they are not going to exist for very long. I expect this to be obliterated in probably, I wouldn't say possibly even weeks to come, but definitely months to come. You won't see it in the data, but on the ground you will see it. The right properties you will not pick up for under 800K here anymore, and that is Geelong West. Look, Geelong West really is pretty much I'd say, gentrified capital, I'd probably say, of Geelong. I mean, you've got distinct areas of Geelong West. So you've got your villagey kind of area, and then you've got your sort of, I'd say, more period home area like this. You do get some very expensive properties in Geelong West on large blocks and even on smaller blocks. Some sell for almost $2 million to give you an idea. And certainly above 1.5 is becoming quite common in these sorts of areas. Geelong West, why I call it kind of gentrified capital of Geelong is because you've got a street called Practington Street there. So it's similar to your upmarket Centre Road of, Melbourne. It's similar to probably, I'd say, your Oxford Street or maybe even your Military Road of Sydney. It's probably similar, to, I don't know if there's a Brisbane equivalent, maybe Queen Street, I don't know, of Brisbane, but it's I could probably compare it to maybe a Mount Lawley of Perth. Actually, in Brisbane, you could probably compare it to probably a South Brisbane kind of area. You kind of really gentrified pocket. It's a place where you'll see a lot of people walking around in cafes, restaurants, all that kind of area there. It's a place that people want to be. The income demographics are exceptional here. I know it was a villagey, probably derelict centre 50 years ago, but it's quite wealthy now. So that's Geelong West. I think it is your best pick under 800K at the moment. I got properties here for literally in the 770s and even one for 760 not too long ago for a client. The one for 760 especially, there was only very little that needed to be done. Sub $5,000 that needed to be done of that. I'm telling you right now, I'm expecting that to be somewhere around 10% growth in the first year. The data might not show because the data is always slow, but on the ground, it will definitely show that. There's an exceptional pocket of it as well. That's my pick for under 800 grand. To get into any budget of Geelong, I've mentioned this in the past and I'll mention it again as well. My pick again is East Geelong. It is by far my favourite suburb of Geelong. It is a more, I'd say, family-orientated suburb. It's mostly tree-lined and quiet streets. It pretty much, like you can see in this photo here, is basically the suburb of, I'd say, south of the Botanic Gardens of Geelong. Very tree-lined, very spacious, home to a lot of families. And the thing about it is, East Geelong's got a part or pocket, should I say, called the Golden Triangle. Now, for people that don't know Geelong, the Golden Triangle is basically an area of Geelong that is bounded by a couple of the main roads. I'm not going to tell everyone where it is because, again, that's client-specific information. But the thing about East Geelong is, and the Golden Triangle, is it's full of homes very similar to this. So your original period homes on actually fairly large blocks. It's common to see ones in East Geelong above 400 metres squared, some that are even closer to a quarter acre block occasionally. Some even sell for like nearly $2 million, to give you an idea, and that number is going to continue to rise in the future. This area is very tightly held, particularly certain parts of East Geelong, even if you can get in pockets that are in East Geelong that aren't the Golden Triangle, that are cheaper, it's still a good buy. But the Golden Triangle specifically, if you can buy something there and hold on to for a long time, exceptional buying there, because this area is so tightly held. It's full of families, quite wealthy families, and people do not sell in this location. Once they get it, they hold it for a number of years. So it's not an area where you're going to see many homes pop up. And when the right home pops up, you'll see people fighting over it like literally food, they were starving for food. That's what will happen in areas like this. So when the market really picks up, and it's already picking up now, you can expect somewhere like East Geelong to have nothing on the market, and the people that take their homes to the market, they're going to ask for ridiculous prices, but they'll get it, and so in some cases they'll even obliterate the top prices that they are actually asking for. So East Geelong is definitely my pick for Geelong if you have any budget. Look, you're probably picking it up for around 800 grand at the moment, maybe 8 to 850. I'd say for the right property, you might even, I've found ones even cheaper than that in the 700s, believe it or not. But I'm telling you, it's going to be well above 800 by the time my next episode probably airs. So that's just a word of warning for people.